So yes, hurricane is over. Yep, managed to live through that. Was not fun, I will tell you that. That was not a fun experience, and I'd rather not go through that again anytime soon. Knock on wood for that. Yeah, so what we're going to do here is talk about, and it's a video I've done before, but hey, everyone loves a good remake. Basically what we're going to do with this video is talk about, since Halloween Horror Nights is in full effect, like we are in like full Halloween Horror Nights spooky season, we are the we are at the zenith of spookification. I thought it'd be kind of fun to dust this old video off, talking about 10 bands slash artists I would love to see at Halloween Horror Nights get their own houses. Now, musicians and artists have been at Halloween Horror Nights before. Hell, right now, we have the return of The Weeknd over at Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood right now. And The Weeknd After Hours Nightmare was shockingly really good. I watched video of Halloween Horror Nights, the After Hours Nightmare sequel that's going on right now. That was really good. And it's not the first time we've had musicians and artists before. Like, again, we've had Black Sabbath there, we had Alice Cooper, we've had Rob Zombie, we've had a few musicians and artists give their name and also their, you know, their musical catalog to brand, you know, to basically play out at Halloween Horror Nights, you know. So here are 10 artists and musicians, in no order, I'm just going to say that, in no order, that I would personally love to see at Halloween Horror Nights. And you might know a few of them already off the bat. But, you know, I'm always excited to see what everyone else's ones come up, what everyone else comes up with. So anyway, let's get started. So starting off, let's just get the obvious out of the way. It's Ghost. I have said from the beginning to the from every year. I have been saying it every year that I would love nothing more than to have Ghost appear in Halloween Horror Nights. They're perfect. They have enough popularity, both mainstream and among the metal community, to really give that could really, like, I think they can, honest to God, hold their own as a house, or even so much as a scare zone. I think, honestly, the band has enough lore and enough like spooky imagery to them that I think they could be a really cool house to really play on. So Ghost, yeah, just wanted to get that out of the way. Let's get the other obvious one out of the way with our next one, Ice Nine Kills. Ice Nine Kills is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and they are part of the horror genre. In fact, as of today, or I think it's tomorrow, we're getting a new song from them centered around Art the Clown in honor of Terrifier 3. In fact, that's going to be the main song of Terrifier 3. This is Ice Nine Kills has enough lore to themselves that I think, again, much like Ghost, they can easily carry an entire... I think they can carry a big following in of themselves and carry their own house without and maybe have some fun, cheeky references to other bands as well. Not other bands, but other, like, horror movies here and there. Of course, Spencer has his own, like, killer he pretends to be. Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential there for an Ice Nine Kills house. Next up, we have, sadly, I don't think you've heard his music before, especially in Billy and Mandy. But unfortunately, I don't think he has enough, like, popularity to him to really, like, warrant a house, but it would be so cool to see this guy get one all the same, and that's Voltaire. I think Voltaire's house would be nothing short of fun. I think a Voltaire house would be just absolutely adorable. I think it would just be kind of like a fun, like, kind of almost like the Beetlejuice house. It'd be very much like, it's not so much scare, or the Ghostbusters house, where it's not so much scary as it is fun. I do imagine it kind of like a spooky version of like a Fiesta, because a lot of his music is Hispanic inspired, because he is Hispanic, obviously. But that's the thing, is that I think he would, his house would be just whereas Ghost, I think, would be atmospheric and creepy, and I think some hardcore scares would happen in Ice Nine Kills' house. Voltaire's house would just be the comedy house of the year. That's really how I feel about it. So yeah, there you go. There's our first three right out the gate. Our next one, and this is one a lot of people have talked about before, is Metallica. A Metallica house would be pretty awesome to see. I imagine it kind of like a heavy industrial kind of feel. This very like kind of this kind of heavy like industrial kind of feel. I think that would be like kind of like a Mad Max kind of situation. Have it based off of the song Fuel, and whenever someone pops out, they go yeah. Oh, that probably would. I joke, but that probably would happen. So there you go, Metallica. House, musician, band number 5. Band number 5 is Rammstein. Rammstein would be, just again, like I said before, it'd be like this heavy industrial, kind of brutal, like, feel to it. I just kind of imagine there'd just be, like, fire effects and, weird shit everywhere. And, again, I think like they could carry. I think Rammstein could carry their own house. Unfortunately, with all the allegations against the lead singer, I think that might be a problem. And yeah, not cool, dude. Not cool. Anyway, but still, had it not been for the bullshittery of the lead singer. Yep. Anyway, I think a Rammstein house would have been really cool. So, those are our first 5 houses. Moving on now to house number 6. House number 6 is going to be an interesting one, and I think like every goth kid is just going to go at it. And that is a mindless self-indulgence house. A mindless self-indulgence house, MSI. You guys probably know the song Bitches and a few of their other songs here and there from the early 2000s. This band doesn't really have a lot of popularity as it did before, and it was always kind of underground, kind of fun. But I still think, I think it would just be a total head fuck. It would just be a house based off of MSI would have been a total just mind fuck of a house. Like, it would just be bizarre and kind of a very techno-based. It'd be really cool. I think like just on the sheer bizarreness of the band, I think it could really carry itself for one. So there you go. Following up, a Evanescence house. Evanescence is still pretty big, and I guarantee you all the 2000s goth millennial kids that are now in their 30s and 40s would go, I want to go to Universal now. I want to go to Halloween Horror Nights now. I imagine an Evanescence house wouldn't be scary so much as it would be a more kind of atmospheric, kind of very somber. It would have some good scares here and there, but I think it would be more of a, like, again, more based on atmosphere, and it would be a very gothically beautiful house, honestly. So, Evanescence for sure. So that was house number 7. Let's move on to our next house, at house number 8. House number 8 would be interesting because I think this could work. I do think this could work. I think there's enough bizarreness to her music, at least in the past. I think she's kind of moved away from it. But I think, and this is going to sound crazy, but I think a Lady Gaga house would not be... I would not be opposed to a Lady Gaga house. A lot of her music and art was very bizarre, but I think since she's moved away from a lot from that and kind of gotten way more generic than her... If this was like... If you did a Lady Gaga house in like after the Poker Face album came out, I think people would have been like, what the fuck? But also I think like with the bizarre imagery, especially like making it almost like when she appeared in... American Horror Story, I think it could really work. I mean, The Weeknd does it, like, he has some very creepy imagery in his music videos, and that applies, but a lot of his music isn't really horror based, and and both of his houses have been bangers, so I think, like, Gaga would have been I think Gaga would have been a fascinating pick to see for a house. But that imagery now. In fact, there was actually supposed to be a Billie, and I'm not even a fan of her, but there was supposed to be a Billie Eilish house, but she's moved away from that image, and they've canceled it. But still, I think The Weeknd, I wasn't interested. I mean, as much as I like The Weeknd as an artist, and I love his music, even I was like, really? The Weeknd at Halloween Horror Nights? I don't know how that's gonna work. Oh, it works fine. Okay, cool. But again, I think if you did that with like a twisted version of Gaga's first album. I think it would have been cool, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. So that's house number 8. My next pick for a house would probably be I think the next one for a house would probably be a fascinating one, because again we're kind of going into that whole not like more of like feel over fear, if that makes any sense. And that is a Motorhead house. Why would I want a Motorhead house? Well, Motorhead's awesome, and I also think the Lemmy Kilmister estate would probably be pretty cool with it. It's not really a horror song. It's not really a horror band, but they definitely could lend themselves. I could imagine like the Motorhead house to be something akin to like a bar in hell, and you're going through the bar and all these demons and undead bodies. Even like a skeletal Lemmy comes out and scares you. And it would be more fun. That's what I think it would be. Like it would just be like a fun experience in that you have like Lemmy Kilmister, like a skeletal Lemmy coming at you. I think that would be a lot of fun to really play with. So yeah, I think that would be a lot of. Motorhead again. The only problem I have is that Motorhead isn't as popular as it used to be in a long time. Sorry, I'm dealing with a bit of a headache. But I think like it could be a cool cult house. That would be neat. And finally, for our next band, and this one's going to be another oddball one, but hear me out. I think a Sabaton house would be fascinating to see. And now hear me out. I know what you're gonna say. Really, a Sabaton house? That's what we're doing here. We're gonna do a Sabaton house. That's what we're going for here. Well, hear me out. War is hell, and a lot of their songs are talking about the horrors of war. So I think what you could do is make like a twisted version of World War I, and they did this before with Nightingales, which was a original house that involved these creatures feasting on the dead in the trenches of World War I, and they actually did another house where it was like in the gladiator pits in ancient Rome. So my thought process is, like my legit thought process is that we, in this version of a Sabaton house would be a house that is like a twisted version of a World War I or World War II battlefield, and it's and you get attacked by undead soldiers or people, and you see people are dying. You just see like broken down tanks. It would really and also like again, it's a twisted version of one of the world wars, and it's just kind of walking you through just the absolute carnage that was going on at the time. So I know it's a bit of an oddball pick. I do know, I am well aware it is an oddball pick for a house. But honest to God, I think it could actually work. I really do think a Sabaton house could actually work. Yeah. So there you go, guys. Those are basically all the. Those are my top 10 picks for Halloween Horror Nights houses based off of bands and artists. But you guys tell me in the comments below, what Halloween horror, what artists / musicians would you want to see at Halloween Horror Nights? What kind of which bands, which artists, and how would you like to see the house done? What would you like to see in it? Things like that. And like I said, I think the best ones that have any shot, honestly, out of my list, I think the best ones that have the best shot at getting a house is Ghost. I'm still holding out for a house based off of Ghost, and I would say Ice Nine Kills has got a second place because they'll do anything to piss off the mouse. They'll do it. So if they were asked, I'm sure Spencer and the rest of the band would totally be down with it. But anyway. So once again, guys, yeah, just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope y'all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.